This has been an interesting experience shooting today. We had a guy stop in the middle of the street because he wanted to hire me. Nice to meet you, man. Sounds good. Oh yeah, a guy flipped me off for who knows why. You see that guy, he just flipped me off.
Did he?
And now we've got a girl singing to a duck. But more importantly, we've got the LUMIX G9 Mark II Micro Four Thirds with phase detect autofocus. A lot of cool things to talk about with this camera, so let's not waste any more time. My name's Dustin, your video tour guide, and please keep your arms and legs inside your chairs at all times. Sit back, relax, and enjoy the video. There's a lot of things we're gonna be testing and trying that's new with this camera, and I'm super excited for, but kind of one of the big things is the autofocus. Not only have they done some improvements with the human detect mode, and they've separated the the body and the eye, but they've also separated the human and the animal detect, and you can also do the animal's body or the eye, but they've also added car and motorcycle. Let me just unpack and show you some better examples here so you can get a better visual of what this new system looks like. If you want a better idea of what's changed on the AF system, go watch my video on the best autofocus settings for the S5 II and you'll see. Regarding human detect, there's some other changes. The UI is slightly different and more tightened up, especially when there are multiple subjects in the scene. I know in this example, it's only me, but you can see that the box will kind of prioritize the upper body, and it appears, at least in the photo mode, that the face and eye detect will pick up a face from further away. Now, let's go back into the wild with this autofocus system and see how it goes. Is this gonna turn into one of those videos where it's not as professional and like, we're just kind of going around doing the best we can?
Just creeping on people.
There's the popo. All right, we're getting car. Oh, motorcycle, quick, set, back. Is she closing her eyes? Dude, she's like in every single picture. Okay, I'm gonna get some cars now. Oh, another motorcycle. Quick. I think I should just leave it in motorcycle and just wait for motorcycle. So I don't know if those of you who have bought a GH6 are gonna be angry, but not only does this have all the autofocus features that you wanted in the GH6, but it's also got basically all of the video features that were in the S5 IIX. Actually, basically all the video features that this camera has is pretty much all of the same resolutions, codecs, and frame rates that the GH6 has. Crazy thing as well, you can even record and shoot photos to an SSD drive as well. And those codecs that aren't available via an SD card are available via SSD recording. Now, one other thing, if you do plan to use this camera more for video over photos, you'll want to take note of this. You'll notice that there's something missing. There's no vent on this camera. So yes, this camera will overheat, but surprisingly does a fairly good job in more controllable environments, or if you just want to grab a few quick video shots. I personally haven't tested it, but I'm sure another YouTuber will. I've used this outside in direct sunlight, and I've also used it in my studio, and it didn't overheat, and I was shooting 5.8K internally. Another thing before we move on, do you remember the dynamic range boost feature that they added to the GH6? Well, the idea was great, but unfortunately, when you went into that mode, the lowest ISO option was something insane, like 2000 or 2500 ISO, I can't really remember. But on this one, you can now go as low as 500 ISO, and dynamic range boost is always active. So in theory, this should have better dynamic range just all the time, but I'm gonna leave that up to Gerald Undone or somebody else to test because they have the fancy gear for testing and I don't. Will I get this biker? I'm switching back to car. I'm committing to car. What about bus? Does that count as a car? It counts. It's focusing. Look at that bus. Could I get some pictures of your dog? I'm testing a new camera and it has dog autofocus basically, or animal. Dog autofocus? Yeah, so I want to see how it does. What's his name? Pablo? 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 That's perfect. Pablo.
Oh my gosh.
So there's a bunch. I wasn't even looking if it was focusing because that's literally what we're testing, but.
Thank you.
No problem. Yeah, thanks for letting me take pictures. So, I should do this more often. Just come out here and just find random people to test things because we just tested the animal autofocus and we need to go over here. The sun is literally like blinding me. My pants are falling down.
Hey. You said you wanted Michael Bay shots.
I've lost 17 pounds.
Oh, did you?
I have.
Why?
I'm depressed. Where's all my sports cars? Mini Cooper, Amazon truck.
Oh, that's
all right,
sexy.
Mini Cooper. Let's see what you got.
Did you get it?
So something I noticed on, at least on that one, it did focus even when the car was almost taking up the whole frame. Like I could see the box around the Mini Cooper still, so. Okay. Okay. I don't know how many more cars I want to shoot. I think it's kind of obvious that it works, so. There was a motorcycle. Okay, we can test this. Okay, the box is popping up. Now he just needs to move. Cars, get out of my way. Is he going right? Where's he going? Cars, get out of my way. Where'd he go? There he is. We got him. Success. Well, and that was kind of a good test too, because it kept losing focus when the cars would pass, right? Obviously, because it can't see it. But then, yeah, it would see the guy on the bike and it would catch him. I guess I should mention one other thing too. The firmware version I'm using is 1.0. Some of the tests I did previously, which aren't gonna be in this video, was on a previous firmware version, or this is possibly not the firmware version that's gonna be shipped with the body, but it's close. So just gotta put that out there, forgot to mention that. It's close to the production firmware. So, okay, back to human. Eye detect. It's tracking her eye. It's working. Come on, show me an eye, baby.
I hear Harleys.
He was saying, oh. My guy, I need motorcycle test pictures of you. Got him. It's fast. This is what's good. The whole point of this is that I'm changing immediately to motorcycle, and then I'm focusing on the motorcycle, and it's getting shots. So the focus is good. It's much better than before. Maybe I like, you know, put the camera down here and just like, you know.
Well,
it's picking up an eye of that girl sitting at the table over there. Okay, yeah, it's picking up his eye right now. So I think like using all the different autofocus modes, I'm super impressed with it. Like the fact that it was picking up people from far away, like on older models, like the LUMIX S5II, S5IIX, it would not pick up the eye way back there. In fact, when you would switch it to face and eye, it almost like didn't make sense because you would be like this far away and you'd turn your head slightly and it would stop tracking you. Whereas now, big improvement. So the next thing that I'm gonna try out, you've seen it on, I think the GH6 was actually the first camera that had it, is the, I could be wrong, don't quote me on that, is this 100 megapixel handheld picture mode. We gotta try it. We gotta get one. There's another dog over yonder. Hello. You're on YouTube. 100 megapixels. I don't know if I believe it. I've never really tried it. It existed on the other cameras, but like I said, I'm not really a photographer. I'm a videographer. So why did Panasonic send me this? I don't know. Behold, the rooster. Creating high resolution image. Oh my. I don't know, I gotta look at it on my computer. How is it? Dustin, back at your computer, how is it? Thanks, Dustin. I mean, looking at it at my computer, from what I can tell, it looks fine. I don't know if I'm doing something wrong, but I'm not really blown away. If I'm doing something wrong, please tell me in the comments. One thing to mention though, when it comes to your G9, the original G9, your underexposed pictures that you bring up the exposure in post will no longer have that magenta shift. That's a nice fix. And lastly, they also added real-time LUT. So if you want to bake in your JPEGs a certain look, you can do that and still retain your raw photos. Same thing for video. If you want to burn in a LUT in Vlog, you can also do that. Oh, by the way, I didn't even mention, this is the same body as the S5 II and the S5 IIX. Exact same body, but Lumix somehow figured out, they put some voodoo magic or they just have good planning, it's the exact same weight as the previous generation G9, down to the gram. I really like that Lumix used the same body here because if you already own an S5 II or an S5 IIX, guess what? The accessories that fit those bodies also fit on the G9 Mark II, including the cage. So when you think about it, if you need a B cam or a C cam, or you just want to have a body that is more catered to shooting photos, this may not be a bad camera to pick up, or if you're already in the Micro Four Thirds lens system. So another thing that Lumix has added to this is pre-burst shooting. So it can pre-burst shoot up to 1.5 seconds. So you basically just hold down the shutter when you have that burst setting active, and it can do up to, I think, 75 frames in a second for like 3 seconds or something like that. Don't quote me on that either. How do we test this? Okay, I know how to do this. So the game plan is to stand right here, and I'm gonna hold down the shutter, and then a car is gonna pass, and then I'm gonna click the shutter, and that same car should be in our photos because pre-burst. I jumped the gun. I forgot we're doing pre-burst, and now it's buffering, so now I'm gonna wait here. I'm not a photographer. What is pre-burst? Okay, so car needs to pass, this Porsche. Except I wasn't holding the shutter.
That skateboarder would have been good.
That skateboarder would have been good too. I can't get good things as a photographer, but videographer, I'm in the right place at every single time. This one, guaranteed success, or else I'll leave the camera right here for somebody to have. Oh, it's at 75, by the way, stills per second. Okay, this van. Okay, we're gonna let it buffer, then we're gonna look at the pictures, and if the van is not there, but then it is there, there was a Jag right there.
I was looking. To leave it on.
Oh, I didn't have it on. Okay. The sun was in my eyes. Give me a good sports car. Ooh, a Mustang, right? No, that's a Chevy. Hey!
It worked?
It worked. I started shooting when the car was like way up here. It was like right there. Look at that Camaro. Ooh, look at that. Ooh, look at that. Literally, it's almost like it's parked there. Okay, let me explain the burst mode a bit as well. You can burst shoot in continuous autofocus at 60 FPS for 3 seconds, blackout free. So a quite nice buffer, and in the pre-shoot shooting mode, there is no diminished quality in your photos. I don't know if different photography cameras reduce the quality if you do that, but that's what I'm told. Oh, and you can also go up to 75 frames per second if you need that. So the next thing that Lumix has added to the G9 Mark II is they have a Leica Monochrome picture profile. And this was created in partnership with Leica. So if you own a Leica, or you like, Leica, the way it looks in black and white, especially, does Leica shoot color? I don't know. I've never shot with a Leica, so. They created this in partnership with Leica, so you get kind of that nice black and white look that comes from it. So let's try it out, I guess. Is that so artsy? You know what I like about this Leica monochrome mode especially, is that it makes these ugly orange cones less noticeable in that photo you just looked at. Did you even see him? I don't think you did. That's why they added Leica. So one of the things that they've done with this camera, I'm pretty stoked about, especially from a video perspective, for not just in this camera, but future cameras as well. So this thing actually has 8 stops of IBIS. 8. And that's just the in-body. That's not even with dual IS. In fact, when you use a lens that has optical image stabilization, you actually lose half a stop of IBIS because the optics in the lens they literally can't stabilize anymore. So unfortunately, we're gonna test this out with just 7.5 stops, but hopefully later in the video, I do more, the 8 stops. Yeah. Music video? This is YouTube. Yeah, everything. I don't on me. You can look up my Instagram, Dustin Armstrong Pro. Nice to meet you, man. Sounds good. That's how you land gigs. You just film yourself out on the street. I don't even have to do any work. Just quit YouTube. Okay, so here we're at 24 mil. We're going across the street, testing the IBIS. Another thing that Lumix added to this camera, the E stabilization, you can now choose 2 different strengths. So we're gonna test that. We're gonna test all of that. Okay, so now I've just changed it to standard E stabilization, and then we're gonna run back. So standard E stabilization, sprinting.
And here he comes.
Now we gotta test one more, which is the high setting. I think it punches in even more though on the high E stabilization. Okay, this is with high on, nice and close, nice and comfy, and we're going.
Am I supposed to be recording this entire time?
Were you? Okay, now watching those tests, I wasn't really satisfied with what I was seeing. These were at 12mm or a 24mm equivalent, and I really wanted to not only test it at the full 8 stops, but I wanted to test it at a wider focal length. So I rented a 8mm, which would be a 16mm equivalent, and first did a test here for control with no IBIS. It's pretty shaky, which is obvious. Then we turn on the IBIS, which looks pretty similar to the IBIS on my S5 II and S5 IIX. So I'm wondering if you don't get the full 8 stops of IBIS unless you have the E stabilization set to high, because the corners are still looking pretty warpy, and I wouldn't say unusable for my taste, but definitely doesn't look very much improved, at least from the S5 II and the S5 IIX. But take a look at it when I turn on E stabilization to standard. There's a pretty huge improvement. It does crop in 1.1 times, but I think it's a small price to pay. But when we switch over to the high setting, it will crop even further. I believe it's like 1.3 times. Don't quote me on that, but I'm pretty sure that's it. But now look at this while I'm sprinting. Look at it. I'm literally at a loss of words. I'm losing my pants. You see that guy? He just flipped me off.
Did he?
Yeah, don't know why. This has been an interesting experience shooting today. We had a guy stop in the middle of the street because he wanted to hire me. We've had, oh yeah, a guy flipped me off for who knows why. And now we've got a girl singing to a duck.
Well, she's sitting with the duck now.
The guy's petting it. We're gonna go see. Animal detect. Can I get a little footage of your duck? I'm testing some things on this camera, and one is the autofocus of animals. It definitely sees the duck. It sees the duck, but will it see its eye? So let me turn this off, and then go to the animal eye detect. Oh, it sees it.
Even with them closed? Oh yeah.
It's impressive.
That is impressive.
New.
Especially because I think most like animal detect software is designed for like dogs and cats.
Yeah, exactly. So now we're gonna be testing the Lowlight autofocus on the G9 Mark II, and coincidentally, we're shooting on the S5 II right now. And how's the autofocus in Lowlight?
It's pretty bad.
It's pretty bad. If I go over here, like, is it even focusing on me? If I go closer?
When you come closer and go back, yeah, it's having a hard time finding you.
Okay, yeah, right there.
Okay.
Yeah,
And then if
it is definitely focusing.
Yeah. Still?
Oh, I lost you. Again, yeah. Ooh,
You're doing like
little.
psych outs.
Oh. I mean, it sees you.
Yeah.
It's not as good as it could be.
Good. So the other one's like, so
I would say it's definitely improved. And this is pretty dark conditions.
this is actually really dark.
Yeah, it's at least holding you when it finds you. It does kind of lose you sometimes, like when you move.
But
come
yours,
forward.
like you came to the camera like here, and then it just stuck on the background.
Oh yeah, this is on you right now.
Oh, okay.
Much better.
That is much better.
Good job. And there we have it, the LUMIX G9 Mark II. Everything you see here comes in at, I believe, $1,900, not including the lens. I legitimately can't remember, but if I'm wrong, feel free to check out the link in the description, which will take you to a pre-order link or order link. I don't really know what's going on, or one of those things. It'll also be an affiliate link, so thank you if you use that. It supports the channel, and it pays Jeff. By the way, Jeff is helping me edit and film videos now. Oh, and one more thing before you go, because I'm sure you S5 II and S5 IIX users are wondering, are we gonna get this new AF system via firmware update? So what I'm told, because this is built on the same engine as the S5 II and the S5 IIX, that it's safe to assume we will be getting it. I'm super excited, I'm not gonna lie. If you forgot, be sure to hit the subscribe button and the bell button to be notified of future uploads. And hit the like button, because why not? Until the next video though, happy filming.